All characters and events are fictional. Any resemblance is coincidental. If you believe every lie leaves proof, comment proof and stay with me. The knocking wasn't normal. It wasn't polite. It wasn't desperate. It was violent, like someone was trying to break the door down with their last ounce of strength. I sat up in bed so fast my heart slammed against my ribs. The digital clock on my nightstand glowed 1:03 a.m. Outside, the street was quiet, too quiet, and then the knocking hit again. Bang, bang, bang. I threw the blanket off and stumbled into the hallway barefoot, my skin already cold. Not because the house was cold, because my body knew something was wrong before my brain could catch up. "Ashley?" I called out instinctively. No answer. The knocking came again, and this time I heard something that made my stomach drop. A sound that didn't belong in a safe neighborhood at 1 a.m. A weak, broken sob. "Mom." My hand froze on the lock because that voice wasn't just terrified. It was injured. I yanked the door open, and my world split in half. My daughter was standing on the porch like she'd crawled out of a nightmare. Her hair was tangled, her face wet with tears. And blood, not a little. Enough to turn her hoodie dark at the shoulder. Enough to drip down her fingers onto my porch tiles. Her lips were shaking like she couldn't feel them anymore. "Mom," she choked, trying to breathe. I grabbed her, pulled her inside, locked the door so hard it echoed, and the second she stepped into the light, I saw her properly. One of her eyes was swelling shut. Her cheek had a red mark, like the imprint of a hand. But the worst part? Her hands. They were trembling like she was holding back a scream. I tried to steady her. "Ashley, baby, look at me. Who did this?" She opened her mouth, and nothing came out. Not because she didn't want to speak, because she was afraid that if she said the name out loud, the person would appear behind her. I guided her to the couch and grabbed the kitchen towel, pressing it gently to her shoulder. That's when I saw it, her phone, clutched in her fist like it was the only thing keeping her alive. The screen was cracked, and it kept lighting up with one message after another. A name flashed across it. Dad. My heart stopped, because her father, my ex-husband, hadn't called her sweetheart in years. But the message that popped up wasn't sweet. It was only 3 words. And those 3 words turned my blood to ice. "Don't tell her." Ashley saw me reading it. She lunged for the phone and grabbed it like it was a weapon. "Mom, please." Her voice broke. Don't call anyone yet." I stared at her. "Yet?" I whispered. She looked at me like she was begging me to understand something without saying it. And then she said the sentence that made everything shift. The sentence that made the fear in my chest turn into something colder, something sharper, something I recognized immediately. "A plan," she whispered. "He thinks I'm still loyal." I blinked. What? Her eyes filled again. "He thinks I'll protect him." I took the phone from her slowly, careful not to scare her, and I heard myself speak like I wasn't even inside my own body, like something else had taken over, something calm, something dangerous. I said, "Ashley, show me everything." Because that moment wasn't just about an attack. It was about evidence. And at 1:07 a.m., with my daughter bleeding on my couch, I understood one truth. Someone had done this to her thinking they could get away with it. And now, they were about to learn what happens when a mother stops being polite. I looked down at her phone again, and I saw the preview of a video file. A video she hadn't sent. A video she hadn't uploaded. A video labeled with a timestamp, 0:58 a.m. My hands went cold. Ashley watched my face, and she whispered the words I'll never forget. "Mom, if you watch it, you can't unsee it." I swallowed. Then I pressed play, and the second the screen lit up, I stopped breathing. Because the man on the video was supposed to be 3 states away. He was supposed to be asleep. He was supposed to be safe. But there he was, standing over my daughter, and when he noticed the phone recording, he leaned down toward the camera and smiled, a slow, confident smile, like he was enjoying it. Then he whispered something into the recording, 5 words that made my vision go dark. "Tell your mom, she's next," Ashley sobbed. I didn't scream, I didn't panic, I didn't cry. I simply reached into the kitchen drawer, took my spare phone, and dialed 3 digits with one hand. Because when you have proof, you don't argue. You don't beg. You don't negotiate. You start the plan. And when the dispatcher answered, I spoke calmly, like a woman placing an order. "This is Ava Hart," I said. "My daughter is bleeding in my living room. I have video evidence, and I need officers here now. Let me take you back. My name is Ava Hart. I'm 36 years old, and I've learned something the hard way. There are two types of women in this world. The women who believe people are good, and the women who've already met the kind of person who looks you in the eye while planning your destruction. I used to be the first type, not anymore. I work in compliance, paper trails, patterns, rules. Most people hear that and think it's boring, but the truth is, I've spent my entire life learning how to spot the exact moment someone thinks they're untouchable. And that night, the man who hurt my daughter made one mistake. He left me something real, proof. Ashley is my daughter, my only child, 16 years old, smart, stubborn, quiet in public, wild with laughter at home. And the most important thing? She's the kind of girl who doesn't make drama. Which is exactly why, when she showed up bleeding at 1 a.m., I didn't assume it was a misunderstanding. I assumed it was a setup, because Ashley didn't end up like that by accident. Someone wanted to break her, or scare her, or silence her. But I raised her on one rule. If you're scared, collect evidence first. And apparently, she remembered her father, Mark Dalen, used to be charming. The kind of man who could make strangers smile in an elevator. That's how he got me. He wasn't violent at first. He wasn't cruel at first. He was just controlling in ways people called protective. He used to say, "I just don't want anyone taking advantage of you, Ava." And I thought it was love, until it wasn't. We divorced when Ashley was 11, not because of cheating, not because of money. Because one night, he got angry and punched the wall next to my face so hard the whole house shook. And when I flinched, he looked at me like I had betrayed him. Then he smiled and said, "See, you make me do that." That was the moment I left. I fought quietly, lawyered up, documented everything, and got full custody. Mark got weekends, supervised for a while, then normal, because the court didn't see bruises. The court saw a hard-working father who made a mistake. And I learned another rule. Sometimes the system protects the wrong person. Mark eventually moved on. He married a woman named Renee, young, pretty, social media sweet, the kind of woman who says bonus mom like she invented motherhood. Ashley hated her immediately, not because she was jealous, because Renee was fake. And Ashley has always been allergic to fake. For years, Mark played the role of healed man. He sent birthday gifts, texted "miss you," posted photos pretending he was a great dad. But Ashley saw through it. Then 3 weeks ago, something shifted. Mark started showing up more, calling more, insisting Ashley spend time with him. And when she told me about it, she said something that stuck in my brain like a splinter. She said, "Mom, he's acting like he needs something from me." At the time, I thought it was ego. Now I know. It was a countdown. The first siren lights hit my window less than 8 minutes after I called. Red and blue reflections poured into my living room like warning lights from the future. 2 officers walked in. A male officer, early 40 seconds, calm eyes. A female officer, mid 30 seconds, sharp, observant, not the type to miss a detail. They looked at my daughter, then at me, then at the blood on the towel. The female officer softened instantly. "What happened, sweetheart?" Ashley's lips trembled, but she didn't answer. She just looked at me. And I realized she was asking permission to break the silence. I nodded once. Ashley swallowed hard. Then she said, "My dad told me to meet him." The male officer's eyebrows rose. "At 1 a.m.? Ashley nodded slowly. "He said it was urgent," the female officer asked gently. "Where?" Ashley hesitated, then whispered, "The old parking lot behind Riverside Plaza." My stomach twisted, because I knew that spot. It was where people went when they didn't want cameras. Ashley's voice cracked. "He said I needed to bring my phone, and not tell my mom." The officer's expression changed, not sympathy anymore, concern. The female officer looked at me. "Ma'am, can we see the phone?" I handed it over without a word. She watched the video. Her face tightened, and when it ended, she didn't hand the phone back. She looked at her partner and said 4 words, "We're starting a case." Then she turned to me and asked something that changed my night completely. "Do you have somewhere safe you can go?" I stared at her. "This is my home." She nodded slowly. "I understand, but whoever did this knows where you live." And suddenly my house didn't feel like safety. It felt like a target. The female officer, Officer Daniels, guided Ashley gently toward the kitchen table like she was made of glass. "Sweetheart," she said softly, "I need you to tell me exactly what happened. From the start, every detail matters." Ashley's hands shook so badly I had to hold her fingers under the blanket. Her eyes weren't just scared. They were haunted, like she had watched something she couldn't erase. She swallowed hard. "Dad texted me at 12:28. Officer Daniels nodded. "What did he say?" Ashley's voice dropped to a whisper. He said, "I need you, right now. Don't tell your mom. Bring your phone." My stomach tightened. Mark didn't need anyone. He demanded. Ashley continued, and every word felt like a nail being hammered into something I couldn't fix. "I didn't want to go," she said, "but he called, and he was nice." She said nice like it was suspicious. Because when abusive people become nice, it's never kindness, it's strategy. The male officer, Officer Hayes, leaned closer. "Did he threaten you?" Ashley hesitated, and I knew. Threats don't always sound like violence. Sometimes they sound like guilt. Sometimes they sound like love. Ashley whispered. "He said Renee was sick, and if something happened, it would be my fault for not showing up." I closed my eyes. That's what Mark did best. He didn't just hurt people. He made them believe they deserved it. Officer Daniels asked, "So you went?" Ashley nodded slowly. "I sneaked out. I took an Uber and told the driver to drop me near the plaza." My chest tightened. 16, alone, at 1 a.m. I wanted to scream, "Why didn't you wake me?" But I didn't, because Ashley had done what Mark trained her to do. Handle it quietly. Protect him. Be the peace. Officer Hayes asked, "When you got there, what happened?" Ashley stared at the floor. Then she whispered something that made the room go cold. He wasn't alone. Officer Hayes's posture sharpened immediately. "Who was with him?" Ashley's voice was barely audible. "A man I've never seen before." She looked at me quickly, like she was afraid to even say it near me. He was wearing a black hoodie, gloves, like he didn't want fingerprints anywhere. Officer Daniels stared at her. "Did your father introduce him?" Ashley nodded. "Dad said, 'He's here to help us. Help us.'" I felt my pulse rise. Mark never said us unless he was dragging someone into his mess. Ashley squeezed her eyes shut. "They told me to get into the car." Officer Daniels asked, "What car?" Ashley lifted her eyes slowly. "A gray sedan. And here's the worst part," she added. "It didn't have plates." My blood turned cold. That wasn't a meeting. That was a setup. Officer Hayes looked at me. "Ma'am, did you know your ex-husband owns a gray sedan?" I shook my head. "No. He drives a black SUV." Ashley nodded. "That's what I thought too." Officer Daniels's voice hardened. "So he wanted you to believe it wasn't him." Ashley nodded again, then flinched like her own words hurt. "He told me to sit in the back." Officer Hayes asked, "Did you?" Ashley swallowed. "Yes." And suddenly my mind saw it clearly. No plates. Back seat. Hoodie man. This wasn't about talking. This was about control. Officer Daniels held Ashley's phone up. "Sweetheart, did you record the video yourself?" Ashley nodded. I hid it. She reached for the phone like she needed to protect it again. He didn't know it was recording until the end. Officer Hayes frowned. "What made you record?" Ashley's voice dropped. The way he looked at me, I felt my stomach twist, because I knew that look. That predatory patience. The look that says, "I own what happens next." Officer Daniels went through the phone carefully. Then she stopped. "Where are the messages?" I blinked. "What?" She turned the screen toward me. The text thread with Dad only showed recent messages. But something was off. There were gaps. Long gaps. Ashley stared. He deleted them. Officer Daniels nodded. "Yes, but this is an iPhone." My compliance brain kicked in fast. "There's a deleted messages folder." Officer Daniels looked at me once, like she respected that I knew. She restored them. And when the deleted thread popped back up, Ashley started shaking again, because the truth wasn't just in the video, it was in the texts. The last message Mark sent before she arrived said, "You'll do what I say. You owe me. Then, don't bring your mom. Then, you want her safe? Come alone." My throat went dry, because that message wasn't to Ashley. Not really. That message was to me. A message delivered through my daughter's fear. Officer Hayes's jaw tightened. "That's coercion." Officer Daniels didn't even blink. "That's a threat," Ashley whispered. I didn't tell her because I thought if I did he'd hurt you. My eyes burned, not with tears, with rage, and something colder underneath, focus. Because now I understood the real reason Ashley came bleeding to my door. She wasn't just hurt, she was warning me, and Mark didn't just hit her. He was testing what he could do to get to me. Officer Hayes asked the question that mattered most. What did he want from you, Ashley? Ashley hesitated. Then she reached into her hoodie pocket with shaking hands and pulled out something that made my breath stop. A folded paper, not a note, not a letter, a document. It had a notary stamp at the bottom. Officer Daniels took it carefully like it was radioactive. What is this? Ashley whispered. He told me to sign it. I felt my blood run cold, because instantly I heard the ultrasound doctor's whisper from our other story. Don't sign. Officer Hayes unfolded it. And when he read the top line, his eyes snapped to mine. Ma'am, this is a consent form. Officer Daniels leaned in. A medical release? Officer Hayes nodded. It authorizes someone to access Ashley's medical records, make decisions, and... His voice slowed. It includes a clause for emergency guardianship transfer. I froze. Guardianship? I whispered. Ashley nodded miserably. He said it was just paperwork. He said if I signed he'd stop being mad. Officer Daniels's voice turned lethal. Who was the guardian being transferred to? Officer Hayes read the name out loud, and that single name made my stomach flip. Mark Dalen. Ashley started crying again. And this time she didn't try to hide it. I didn't sign, she sobbed. I didn't sign, Mom. I swear. I grabbed her face gently. I know, baby. I know. Officer Daniels's eyes moved slowly from the document. To me. Ava, she said, voice quiet now. This wasn't about Ashley. This was about you losing control. Because if Mark got emergency guardianship, he got access to Ashley, to her records, to her school, to her life, and worse, he got legal power close enough to reach me again, not as an ex-husband, but as a concerned father. That's how monsters hide. Behind paperwork, Officer Hayes stood. We need to sweep the area around your porch, he said. Where did Ashley come from when she arrived? Ashley whispered. I ran. I didn't even know where I was. I just ran. Officer Daniels helped her stand, guiding her gently, and as Ashley stood up, something fell from her hoodie pocket. A small plastic piece hit the floor with a quiet click. Officer Daniels picked it up. Her eyes narrowed instantly. It wasn't trash. It was a SIM card. My heart stopped. Officer Daniels stared at Ashley. Sweetheart, where did this come from? Ashley shook her head, panicked. I don't know. Officer Hayes's voice went cold. That was planted. Officer Daniels nodded slowly, turning it over between her fingers. No teenager keeps a loose SIM card in their hoodie. I felt my skin go numb, because suddenly the night rearranged itself into a pattern. No plates, hoodie man, threats, a document to steal control, and now a SIM card. This wasn't a fight. This was an operation. A setup big enough to ruin lives, and I knew exactly what they planned to do next. Frame her, or track her, or use that SIM card for something illegal. Then claim it was hers. Officer Daniels looked me dead in the eyes. Ava, I need you to listen carefully. What you have right now is the start of a much bigger case, and in that moment, I wasn't just a mother anymore. I was the witness, the evidence holder, the problem they didn't anticipate. Officer Daniels didn't rush. She didn't comfort me with empty phrases. She did what smart people do when they smell a bigger crime. She got quiet. She looked at Ashley's bruises again, the cheek imprint, the shoulder blood, the trembling hands. And then she asked the one question that made my stomach flip. Ashley, did he hit you to hurt you? Ashley stared blankly. I don't know. Officer Daniels leaned in, voice low. Or did he hit you to make sure you came home looking like that? My heart stuttered, because suddenly, the bruises looked different. Not like rage, like a message, like evidence, like something staged to trigger a specific reaction, a chain reaction. Officer Hayes walked to the front window, scanning the street. Any cameras? Ring cameras, street cams. My compliance brain clicked on immediately. I grabbed my laptop from the kitchen counter like it was a weapon. We have ring footage, I said. I typed fast, fingers shaking but focused. The app loaded, and there it was. Timestamp 1:03 am. Ashley stumbling up the porch steps, bleeding, and right behind her, something moved. A shape at the edge of the frame, not close enough for the camera to catch a face, but close enough for me to see one thing clearly: a gray sedan parked across the street, no plates visible, engine running, watching. Officer Hayes leaned in. "That's the car," Ashley's breath caught. That's him." Officer Daniels stared hard at the screen. They didn't just drop her off. They followed her. I felt my skin go numb, because in that moment, I understood the real horror. Ashley didn't escape. They let her go. Because they wanted her to bring the chaos back to my door. They wanted me to react, to call, to panic, to make a move they could predict. But they didn't count on one thing: me being calm enough to think like a prosecutor. Officer Daniels held Ashley's phone. "Let's pull everything," she said. "Location, deleted data, metadata." Ashley stared. "Can you even do that?" Officer Daniels didn't blink. "I can do enough to get a warrant." Then she looked at me. "Ava, what do you do for work?" "Compliance," I answered. Her eyes sharpened. "Good. Then you know what matters." I nodded slowly. "Timestamps," I said. "Patterns. Proof." Officer Hayes plugged Ashley's phone into a small extraction device, one they carried in their patrol car, and within minutes he pulled something that made my chest tighten: a location ping, not Riverside Plaza, not the parking lot. The phone had briefly connected to a nearby tower, behind a closed construction property 3 blocks away. Officer Hayes pointed at the map. "That's not a meeting spot. That's a blind spot," Ashley whispered, trembling. "That's where the man told me to walk. After I got in the car, my lips went dry, so they moved her. They relocated her. They controlled the environment." Officer Daniels looked at Ashley gently. "Sweetheart, what happened there?" Ashley's eyes filled. "He told me to sign." She swallowed. "He said if I didn't, I'd regret it." Her breath hitched, and then he grabbed my phone and went through it. Officer Hayes frowned. "He accessed it?" Ashley nodded, voice shaking. "He typed something and smiled." A cold chill ran through my spine, because I knew exactly what that was: planting, framing, creating something. Officer Daniels stared at the SIM card again. Then she looked back at Ashley's phone, and her voice dropped into something deadly calm. "This SIM isn't for her. It's for someone who wanted to use her phone, without being traced." Ashley whispered. "He put something in my bag." My blood went cold. "What?" I snapped before I could stop myself. Ashley pulled her backpack closer with trembling hands. She unzipped the front pocket, and there it was, a second phone, cheap, black, burner. I stared at it like it was a snake. Officer Daniels exhaled slowly. "There it is." Officer Hayes asked the question that mattered. "Did you bring that with you?" Ashley shook her head violently. "No, I swear, it wasn't mine." I believed her instantly, because Ashley didn't even like carrying one phone. But they didn't plant it on her for her. They planted it for the law. So if police searched her, they'd find evidence of something illegal. And then Mark would say, "See, she's unstable, she's lying, she's dangerous." It wasn't just an attack. It was reputation assassination. It was legal warfare. And my ex-husband had always loved war. Officer Daniels stepped aside and lowered her voice. "Ava, if we move too fast, he runs." My eyes locked on hers. "Then we don't move fast," I said. "We move smart." Her mouth tightened, almost like approval. Officer Hayes was on the phone now, calling it in, requesting backup, because the gray car on my Ring camera? That wasn't just suspicious. That was probable cause. Officer Daniels pulled me into the kitchen, away from Ashley. "Do you think he wants custody?" she asked. I stared at the countertop like I could see the answer in the marble. "No. He wants control," I whispered. "And he can't control me directly anymore. So he's using her." Officer Daniels nodded slowly. "Then we do this the right way," she said. "We make him think he's winning." My heartbeat slowed, because I recognized that logic. That's how compliance works. You don't accuse, you collect, you let them build their own case. Officer Daniels said, "Do you have any reason he'd suddenly need emergency guardianship?" I swallowed hard. Then I said something I hadn't said out loud in years. "There's money." She looked at me sharply. I continued, voice steady now. "My father left a trust, not enough to make headlines, but enough for a man like Mark to want." Officer Daniels didn't even look surprised. "Then he's desperate. and desperate men become violent. She placed the burner phone into an evidence bag. Now we wait. I turned toward the living room where Ashley sat wrapped in a blanket, eyes wide and glassy. I'm not waiting, I said quietly. Officer Daniels watched me. I looked her dead in the eyes. I'm baiting him. Her expression hardened. That's dangerous. I nodded. I know. Then I held up Ashley's phone, and that's why we do it with proof. Officer Daniels hesitated. Then she said the words that turned the entire case into a controlled explosion. Text him back. Ashley's head snapped up. No, Mom. I sat beside her and held her hand. Baby, listen to me. He thinks you're still loyal. She swallowed, shaking. He thinks you're scared. I leaned in, voice soft but unbreakable. So we use it. Officer Daniels dictated what to send. Short, believable, and deadly. I'm home. I didn't tell her. What do I do with the phone? Ashley's thumb hovered. She looked at me, terrified. I nodded. It's okay, I whispered. Just breathe. She hit send. 3 seconds passed. 5, 10. Then the reply came instantly, like he'd been waiting. Good girl. Don't move. I'll come get it. Officer Hayes's eyes narrowed. He's coming. Officer Daniels whispered. And now we catch him. The house went silent. Not peaceful silent. Predator silent. Officer Hayes moved to the side hallway near the entry. 2 backup officers arrived quietly within minutes. No sirens, no flashing lights, just boots on carpet and controlled breathing. Officer Daniels looked at me once. If he enters this property, he's done. And for the first time all night, I felt calm, because everything changed when Mark decided to come to my house. He thought he was coming to collect a phone. He was walking into his own arrest. The Ring camera notification lit up again. Motion detected. Officer Hayes held his hand up. Everyone froze, on the screen. The gray sedan rolled into view again, slow as a snake. It stopped across the street. The driver's door opened. A man stepped out. Hoodie, gloves, face partially covered. Then another door opened, and my throat went dry, because Mark stepped out too. No hoodie, no mask, just my ex-husband's face in the porch light, confident, annoyed, like the world owed him cooperation. Ashley sucked in a breath. That's him, she whispered. Officer Daniels whispered back. Don't speak, don't move. Mark walked up my driveway like he owned it, like he hadn't sent my daughter home bleeding, like he wasn't the reason my living room smelled like blood and fear. He knocked, softly, politely, like a man with nothing to hide, and I realized something almost funny. Mark didn't think I had called the police, because in his mind, I was still the woman he trained to stay quiet. I walked to the door slowly. Officer Daniels stood just out of sight. I opened it 2 inches. Mark smiled like he was visiting family. Ava, he said gently, fake as warm honey. I heard Ashley had a little situation. My nails dug into my palm. A little? I whispered. He sighed dramatically. You know teenagers, emotional. Then he leaned in. I'm here for the phone. I stared at him. Then I did what he always underestimated. I smiled, a calm, controlled smile. And I said, come inside. Mark blinked, surprised, because that wasn't supposed to happen. He stepped in, 1 foot, then the other, and the second the door clicked, shut. Officer Daniels stepped forward. Mark Dalen, she said, hands where I can see them. His face drained so fast it was almost satisfying. He lifted his hand slowly, then tried to laugh. This is ridiculous. Officer Hayes stepped in behind her. We have video evidence, he said. We have threats, Officer Daniels added, and we have a minor with injuries. Mark's eyes flashed to me. For 1 second the mask slipped, and I saw the real Mark, the man who didn't feel guilt, only rage that he was losing control. He hissed through his teeth. You stupid. Officer Hayes snapped cuffs onto his wrists. The click echoed through my entire house like a verdict. Mark twisted, trying to look at me. You're doing this to me? He spat. I stared back at him, calm as ice. No, I said. You did this to yourself. Officer Daniels turned him toward the door. And your friend in the gray car, she added. We're picking him up next. Mark's eyes widened. For the first time. Real fear. Because his accomplice was still outside, still in the sedan, and now police were moving in. Outside, the gray sedan tried to pull off. Tried. But the street was already blocked. 2 patrol cars boxed it in. Red and blue lights washed over my windows like a storm. The hoodie man bolted. Ran. Officer Hayes shouted into his radio. Suspect fleeing west. And then, A sound that made my stomach twist. A metallic clatter. Something fell from the hoodie man's pocket while he ran. Officer Daniels ran out and picked it up. A USB drive. She stared at it, then looked back at me. "You said you were compliance?" she asked. I nodded. She held the USB up like it was a trophy. "Then you know what this is." My breath caught. Because I did. That wasn't random. That was the real operation. This wasn't about Ashley. Not entirely. It was about data, records, identity, control. Officer Daniels slid the USB into an evidence bag. Officer Hayes walked Mark toward the patrol car. Mark tried to speak, tried to regain control with words. Tell them she's crazy." No one reacted, because when you have proof, words stop mattering. Officer Daniels turned to me and added softly, "Ava, we're going to process this, and I need you to be very honest with me." I stared at her. Was he ever violent before? I didn't hesitate. Yes. That single word felt like breaking a curse. She nodded once. "Then he's not getting near your daughter again." Ashley stood behind the curtain, watching, trembling, but alive. And when Mark was shoved into the back of the squad car, he looked up at my window, at us, and for the first time in years, he looked small. Not powerful, not untouchable. Just a man caught by his own arrogance. The next days moved like a controlled fire. Fast, relentless, final. Mark was charged with assault of a minor, coercion, harassment and threats, attempted fraud involving guardianship transfer, evidence tampering, and conspiracy. And the hoodie man? That part shocked even the police, because when they ran him, he wasn't a random thug. He was a private investigator, a dirty one, the kind hired to stalk, to plant evidence, to create paper trails that destroy women in court. Officer Daniels called me 2 days later. "Ava, that USB?" she said. "It's bigger than we thought." I sat down slowly. "What was on it?" Her voice turned careful. "A list," she said. "Names, targets." And when she said that word, I felt a chill run through my bones. Targets. Like Ashley wasn't the first. Like I wasn't the first. Like Mark had been doing this longer than my marriage. Officer Daniels continued. "And your name was on it." My hands went cold. "And next to your name was a timestamp." She paused. "A date." My throat tightened. "What date?" Officer Daniels answered quietly. "The day after your daughter's 18th birthday." I stopped breathing, because that meant Mark wasn't just trying to hurt me now. He was planning to own her, legally, financially, forever. And the second she became an adult, he was going to erase his responsibility and take what he wanted. People think revenge looks loud. It doesn't. Real revenge is calm. Real revenge is paperwork, evidence, timing, restraint. That night my daughter didn't come home bleeding because she was weak. She came home bleeding because she was brave enough to run, brave enough to record, brave enough to bring me the one thing that ends monsters faster than fear ever could, proof. And when Mark Dalen looked at me through that squad car window, he expected me to break, to cry, to beg, to collapse. But I didn't. I stared at him like a judge, and I whispered so quietly even I barely heard it. "You picked the wrong woman. Because in the end, I didn't win by screaming. I didn't win by begging. I won by doing the one thing he never expected. I called the police. And I started the plan." If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to The Final Evidence, because every lie leaves proof.